Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy RJ Game News USA here, bringing you the gaming news. So if you like this kind of content, like, share, and subscribe. First, we're going to look at a clip about NSO price increase coming for Japan. Let's listen to this, because we know the US will not be too long to follow this.
I've got bad news if you pay for Switch Online while living in Japan, as Nintendo just announced the price of Switch Online is going up across the board. Anywhere from 20 to 30% for the most part, with one exception there. And yeah, you can see the prices right here. The old price is on the left, the new price is on the right, starting July 1st, so pretty darn soon. And again, it's roughly a 20 to 30% increase across the board. The only exception being the Switch Online expansion pack for a year, which is only going up about 11 or 12% or so. And I can show you the exact numbers here in a second. So
that's it. I do the Switch Online expansion pass for a year. That's going up the least according to this. If this price increase does come to the U.S., what are we looking at? If it's 11%, the equivalent in the U.S., I mean, we're talking $5-6. Would they just go up and round it up from 50 to 60, maybe? I don't love this, especially because I'm really irritated that they haven't come out with a bunch of NSO games that I've been expecting, for like GameCube in particular.
So right now, I imagine for most people watching this video, it's not going to affect them, but the question is, could this mean more price increases are coming, worldwide? So I thought, let's take a look at what that might mean, at least for the US, if they have a similar percentage increase in price sometime down the line. So I did all the math here. Let's focus on the main categories, I think, being the individual 1-month plan would go up 30%. That's the biggest increase, bringing it from $4 to roughly $5. Now, they could, I'd imagine they round it up or down, either to $4.99 or $5.99. So yeah, that would be getting at least a $1 increase, assuming they maintain that percentage. 12 months would go from roughly $20 to $25, so $24.99 with a 25% increase. And then if we take a look at the family plans, we can see it's currently $35. Well, with a nearly 30% increase, that'll bring it up to $45 again for a year. Still pretty decent, honestly. I don't think that's that bad. But then if you look at the expansion pack prices, the individual plan would go from $50, but with a 20% increase, it will bring it to $60. However, the expansion pack family plan, which is currently $80, with a mere 11% increase, mere relatively, that brings it up to $88 or roughly $89.
Okay, so actually it was for the expansion pass, only 11%. But basically, to break it down, if these price increases were to go to the U.S., rounding up or down to the nearest dollar that makes sense, the current U.S. price for individual 1 month is $4. It would go to $5 for the basic. The basic $8 plan will go to $10. The basic 12-month plan will go from $20 to $25. The family 12-month plan will go from $35 to $45. And this is the one that I do. The expansion pass for individual will go from $50 to $60. And the family pass, expansion pass, will go from $80 to $90. So that sucks. If these prices do come to the U.S., which I think are likely, since Japan is happening first, I hate this, and I especially hate this because on GameCube, I'm still waiting for Melee, I'm still waiting for Double Dash, and Sunshine, and Beautiful Joe, and freaking both Metroid games, and Twilight Princess, and we're still waiting for N64, Diddy Kong Racing, we're still waiting on Smash Bros. It's crazy. Oh, on GameCube, still waiting for Paper Mario and Melee, if I didn't already say so. But, yeah, don't love this at all, hate it. But anyway, let's move on to our next story. And that is, we have some Xenoverse 3, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 gameplay shown off and actually experienced by a few people here from GVC. Let's listen to a little bit of what they experienced, and then I'll give my 2 cents on what I'm looking at here.
You and I have both had the opportunity to see a bit of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 gameplay that hasn't been made available to the public yet. I saw it in person at Summer Game Fest. You saw it literally moments ago via some footage provided to us by Bandai Namco, which is what you guys are seeing on screen right now. And I have to say, as someone, and I know we're both in this boat, who've been waiting for a new Xenoverse for 2 entire console generations, I'm pretty excited by the little bit of new information we've got here.
Yeah, going from Xenoverse 1 to Xenoverse 2, like, they're really the same game. Like, so much so that, like, in Xenoverse 2, you can play Xenoverse 1 now.
Yeah, they literally just dumped the entire game in there, but same visual engine, same gameplay mechanics. They really don't feel notably different, but that really isn't the case here with 3, is it?
No, this game looks notably more modern. Especially like this opening moment where the character is just kind of walking around a room. It feels very like third-person Sony cinematic video game to me.
Wow, that's a little bit of a surprise. I am looking at it. It does seem more cinematic. You know, we do know Xenoverse 1 and 2, you know, very similar. A little jank compared to some other 3D games, you know, but Xenoverse a lot kind of played like, you know, Tenkaichi or Kakarot to some degree. But I can clearly see a little bit of a step up here in the graphics and just what character models look like and movement looks like here. So Xenoverse 3 looking not too shabby, if you ask me. So we got one more story going on, and that is apparently Sony might have no choice but to release the PlayStation 6 in 2027.
Because a very weird leak happened last night from Kepler L2. Now, this is a very reputable leaker, clearly has a bunch of sources inside of, well, PlayStation manufacturing. And he has basically said that Sony can't delay the PlayStation 6, that even if this system has literally 0 games, even if it costs like $1,200 to make, even if the PlayStation 6 does not sell at all, Sony feels forced to release it next year. They're basically just going to throw it out there because apparently the PS5 is not selling at all. The exclusives are just not coming. That Sony's strategy is that they would rather have a console that's sort of a failure on the store shelves rather than no product at all. Now,
okay, this is, I think the leak's not true. I'm going to start off by saying that. If it is true, then Sony's a bunch of fucking idiots there. Because they're acting like the PS5 isn't selling. It's selling really well still. And if it's not, then I wonder if the price increase has anything to do with that. I mean, hello, you charge, you know, higher prices on something. No wonder why it's starting to slow down. You are, after all, 6 years into the generation. And you've already sold almost 100 million units. I mean, think about it. The PS4 is like, what, 125-ish million units? So really, the PS5 is already 5/6 of the way, basically, to a PS4. So you are tapping out on your install base a little bit. And you're selling it for more expensive prices than you did the PS4 as well. Maybe not at a better profit margin, but still. I mean, I'm still of the assumption the PS6 is coming in 2028. You know, you hear a lot of, it could be 29, it could be 30, it could be 27. I stand firm on it's going to be 2028. 2027 is too soon. When we just saw God of War, La Fea or whatever, is that a PS6 game then? Did they show us a PS6 game? That game doesn't even have a year on it. Is that game even coming in 27? That could be an early 28 game. Very late PS5 game. Right? People that say, well, Intergalactic could be a cross-gen game even in 27. Even if Intergalactic's delayed, I still think it's not a PS6 game. I don't think we've seen a PS6 game yet that will release day on date on PS5 and PS6. Not yet. We haven't yet. That may change next year. But I stand firm in saying Intergalactic and God of War La Fea will be released on PS5 prior to a PS6 launch in 2028. Whether that's fall of 27, whether that's summer of 27, spring of 28, or even summer of 28. Now, that's not to say it won't get some sort of upgrade path to the PS6. But certainly there won't be any exclusives. Certainly if the PS6, even in 2028, comes out, is going to cost an arm and a freaking leg. Just look at the Steam machine right now.
Now, I want to take a look at these leaks because people are very much sort of shocked about the idea that Sony would rather have a bad console that flops and sort of be next-gen ready than wait and prepare it for, I don't know, after the AI bubble pops. Let's take a look at this. This is going to be a very in-depth video because there is a lot going on. This topic is making a lot of people cheaper than a Steam machine and performs way better than a Steam machine. We also see basically the PlayStation 5 Pro, is expensive as it is, it does go on sale pretty dang often. I mean, it now is $700 if you get it on this Amazon Prime sale. But a lot of people are basically saying that if you bought a sales have gone off a cliff, mostly because of the multiple price increases. It went from $400 for just a discless PS5 all the way up to, like, I don't know now, what is it, $650? I mean, it has gotten multiple dramatic price increases, which is made it where some people try and say, oh, it's also because so many people already have a PlayStation. Everybody that wants a PS5 has probably bought it in that first 6 years. At this point, the entirety of the entire console space is mostly PlayStation. It's wild to actually consider even how successful the Nintendo Switch 1 is. Like, this is just crazy to think about how many hundreds of millions of people are playing on PlayStation.
So this pie chart shows market share: 71% for PlayStation, 19% for Nintendo, 10% for Xbox. What are we basing that off of? The Switch 2 sold the best of any first-year console of all time. I don't understand those numbers. Do I believe PS5 is outselling Xbox currently 7-1? I do. I believe that. But the Nintendo number doesn't sound right to me.
But here's the thing, right? Known hardware leaker Kepler L2 responds to recent reports of the PS6 being delayed to 2028 or 2029 with a...
There's no delay. It was never announced. This is like people who say the Switch 2 was delayed. No, there's an idea that maybe it was going to come out in the fall of 24. I don't believe that. I believe it was supposed to come out in March of 25, exactly around the 8-year anniversary of the Switch 1, that replicate exactly what the Switch did. And maybe they delayed it by a couple of months, and they sort of admitted that a little bit, right?
With a simple note. Kepler goes on to like a post shared by another user listing reasons of why a delay wouldn't happen. Delaying the console when it's basically done does not make sense because they have contracts, they have production, they have to be making these consoles, maybe even GDDR7 contracts with memory makers. Research.
First of all, if the plan was to release in 2027, that was a stupid idea. I understand maybe what they were thinking. They're like, well, PS4 was 2013, PS5 2020, PS6 2027. Or actually, you could even go back this way. 7-year cycles. PlayStation's been doing 7-year cycles since the PS3, right? PS3 2006, PS4 2013, 7 years. PS4 to PS5 2013 to 2020, 7 years. PS5 2020 to 2027, 7 years. Right? They've adopted this 7-year cycle. Problem is, I think people are wanting more 9 to 10-year cycles. And at the beginning of the PS5 generation, you had COVID. So I feel like they should have shot their shot for 2028 anyway.
Development done. This costs hundreds of millions of dollars. It's basically that right now they're in this spot where they can't just say, wait, never mind. The factories are built, the employees are hired, the chips are already purchased. Even if there ends up being an AI bubble pop and suddenly the chips themselves get a lot cheaper.
If this leaker's saying, hey, people were hired, the chips are being manufactured, we have evidence of this, and the other, maybe there's some validity here.
It sounds like they're full steam ahead. They'd rather release a console that loses them money than not make the system. PS5 sales are slowing down, and there's no guarantee that memory prices will drop between now and 2030. Releasing in 2027, several million units sold before 2030 when the memory prices drop just lowers the console price and gains a massive market share. Releasing in 2030 means no sales. 2030 prices could be lower than the same or higher from scratch.
Right,
Now,
okay, that's an argument for why not to delay it 3 years, which I've never believed, or even 2 years. But I think you can delay it a single year. Now, obviously, they did not do this for the PS5 and the Xbox Series console. But can you not delay it for 1 year? Can we not go to 2028? 2027 feels so freaking soon. We're talking about less than 18 months from now. They're wanting us to go trot out there with maybe $1,200 to go buy a PS6. I'm not doing it. Especially if you're not going to have any exclusives for at least half the generation. Fuck that. And with that, guys, that is the end of this video. Did you like the gaming stories? Let me know in the comments below. But until next time, this is RJ signing out. Have a good one.